everybody. My name's Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. It really is an interesting thing to sit and to know that within a certain amount of time we'll be reaching literally millions of people. And what is said here and what energy and what vibration and what passion that we put out from this little studio in Santa Barbara, California, because of the way paradigms work now and the way technology has been an asset to that type of energy getting out, will reach millions and millions of people. And so what can we say? What can we do? What can we vibrate? What can we allow to come through us that we would want to say to the world, that we would want from the dedicated crew at this studio to share, to collaborate, to create as an energy, as a vibration with all of our brothers and sisters on the planet. And all of our brothers and sisters who at this particular moment, unless something changed from the time I sat down in this chair, which I probably not, are not all getting along so well, are not all in the same boat, on the same page, in the same recognition of their own beauty. And what can we do together to bring that into a reality, the reality of our connectedness, the reality of our love, the reality of our oneness? What can we, each of us in our busyness, in our days, in our families, in our countries, in our religions, in all the places that humans are busy and humans are taking part in their activity to lead their extraordinary human lives? What can we do together? We know that so much of what we do on this planet is so disharmonious, is so out of sorts, is so disproportionate to our connectedness. And we know that something smells funny, something, it smells like garbage and it is like garbage and it looks like garbage. And lo and behold, how can we let people starve? How can we let people not have clean water? How can we let ethnic cleansings go on? How can we let more war and more bombings and more abuse go on in every way, shape, and form? When clearly that is not the highest form of our potential, of our actuality. So, in a way, what can we do? We can pray, we can dedicate a little more today to be more in consciousness, to be more in integrity, to be more in prayer, to be more in the moment, to be more alive, to be more in compassion. And these are all words, and we know they're words. But to have that experience, how can we collectively raise the energy, raise the vibration on this planet, enliven the energy, so that as the water rises, as the energy rises, everyone gets wet. And really that's when when people ask me what's the intention of bridging, what's the intent, what's the purpose? And from the beginning it was in essence dedicated to that oneness. That's what's on every flyer, that's what's on every poster, that's what's on every show. That's what's on every page of the Healing Art Project. And our intent is to try to put that energy out, the energy of our oneness, of our togetherness. And once that is healed, once that heart, once that root is healed, and we as a collective species recognize our connection, our love, our unconditional experience of that infinite love, of that inclusive love, then the leaves will heal. Then those things that are so disharmonious will no longer exist by their nature. They will fail by the weight of their illusion, by the weight of their craziness. So it's another opportunity. And tonight's guest, again, is dedicated and dedicates his life to assist in transforming the consciousness on planet Earth. Helge Thomas Miller is a spiritual teacher, he's a minister, and is the author of an extraordinary new book, Our Goal is God, A Guide to Spiritual Awakening. And he's been blessed with visions and spiritual experiences his whole life. And he just intends and desires and works at and plays at to feel love and share it, to get that message out, to realize more and to spread more and to enliven more and to raise that water level. And we're honored that he's here with us. As most of you know, we're also in the middle of an international healing art project. It came as a dream, it came as a vision, as an acupuncture for the planet, that we would reach out to the world and say, come with us, collaborate with us, create a new original piece based on the theme Bridging Heaven and Earth. And we'll put it on the shows. We'll have an incredibly beautiful healing art site, which is heaven-to-earthart.com. It is so beautiful. And we've received pieces from probably over 250 pieces from all over the world. And we have probably commitments for another 500 more that they commit to do it, they just haven't manifested yet. And you could feel the intensity of the healing. You can feel the intensity of the love that goes into all these pieces and all the collaboration. And anybody who wants to join us is welcome. There's no skill level, there's no time frame, just the intent to be part of the healing, the intent to be part of the acupuncture, the intent to be part of the collaboration. So anybody who wants to, there are numbers on the bottom, there's the website on the bottom of the show when you watch it. Contact us. We'd love to have you as part of it. Everyone who's part of it helps the healing. So we have two pieces tonight that we're showing. One is by Helge, that he did a beautiful photograph, and one is by Kat Kariakou, a beautiful piece. She actually has done two pieces for the art project. And as most of you know, we also show videos on the show. And tonight we have two really different and interesting videos. One is the Bridging Time Lapse video that shows how we set up and break down, or how we used to before we had our own studio. I'll explain that a little more when we get to it. And then we're introducing someone who's going to be a guest on a future show. He's an incredible musician, a peace activist, being of compassion and love and talent and light. Yuval, we'll see a piece of his music with his ensemble that was live at the World Festival of Sacred Music in 2008 in LA. So we have an incredible opportunity tonight to see and feel and be part of something where the intention is to heal. The intention is to come together as one and to experience more of that love and more of that oneness. So join me in a short meditation, then we'll start with the Bridging Time Lapse video. Thank you. So we're going to start tonight's show with this really interesting video that one of the incredibly creative, dedicated Bridging crew members, family, Greg Allen, put together. And it was his intention to do it, and he tried it out in different ways with different settings and all this stuff. And finally, on January 9th, 2010, we were in the third facility that we were in, where we brought all the equipment in, every camera, every light, every tripod, every piece of food, every table, every sandbag, every audio equipment, everything that you see as part, or you don't see, but that takes in doing a show. We brought in to a studio and took everything out the same day. And we did that from the time we left the cable studio in 2004, July of 2004, until we got this studio in June of 2010. And so this particular one was done at the center of the heart, and that was one of the three facilities we rented on a daily basis and brought everything in. And you'll see, we come into this facility that had all these chairs set up for the center of the heart's activities. And we took all the chairs out, brought everything in, and did 2 shows. And we did the shows with Eliza Matadalian and Ginger Matro. So you'll see the 2 shows coming, setting up, breaking down, me changing my clothes in time lapse. So the whole thing is 5 minutes. That took probably about 6 or 7 or 8 hours. And so the videographer is Greg Allen, and the music is by Omashar, and there are so many people. You'll see them running around, looking like they're running around, setting everything up with really one of the most dedicated volunteer crews you can imagine on the planet, I'm sure. And this was done at the Center of the Heart, one of the facilities. So enjoy. Bridging Time Lapse.
We shared the cross of ages, revealing light within the fall. We share the joy in living. As finally we no thought about a future. This moment is all we have to know. We walk the path together, hand in hand we as we walk on earth. We're building an eternity. Now all can see the way back home again, bridging heaven and earth.
Hi everybody, welcome back. So that's a lot of activity that we used to do every time we did a show. I mean, it's amazing. We feel so blessed and honored to have our own studio now and not have to do that. When I left that studio the last time, we did it. It's actually, I think it was then or very close to that. It was like, the message was, you're never gonna have to carry those many sandbags again. So then we started really looking for a place. We found this great place. So, and also the beautiful photograph you're seeing was done by Helge, the inner sun. Why don't you talk a little about how that came to be? And
yeah, this is actually taken from my porch. I was outside as the sun was setting, and this image came on the sky. And it's kind of hard to explain. The sun is actually down there. This is not the sun. So this thing happened above the sun. And one of the things that is difficult to explain is the metaphysical other dimension, the spirituality, and try to put physical words and images to it. So this reminded me of the sun that you see with your spiritual eye, either during deep meditation or by the grace of our Creator. And when you start meditating and start opening your spiritual eye, you'll see a cloud of, like a purple cloud of circular cloud, really soft, cottonish, and then a star, white star, will appear in it and start to expand and sort of take away those clouds, and that's what you see here. And then eventually the circle of gold will be around that white star, and that circle of gold would then turn into multicolor based on the spectrum or the colors of the rainbow. So what you see in front of you with your inner eye, when you get to that point, is actually a hologram. You actually see it down your own spine and the different colors of your chakras, but the vision is in front of you. So that reminded me of that. So I was lucky enough to have a camera laying by. So
it's beautiful. When you first sent it, I was like, that is really amazing. That is beautiful. Yeah. So as a little boy, I mean, you had spiritual experiences and visions and all stuff starting really young. How young did you start really having that?
Probably 6 or 7. There was one episode where I was actually asked to go out on the corridor from my Sunday school for asking too many questions, and that upset me. And later that night, I had this light being coming into my bedroom, who identified himself as Melchizedek, which I had no clue of who was at that time, and he sort of put me to calm and don't worry. What you said was the right thing, and eventually the world will understand. So.
Oh, the questions you were asking and the sense you had about the nature of things
was
more accurate than not when people thought you were just being a pain in the butt.
Well, the Sunday school teacher didn't like to be questioned on the creation. You know, that's I didn't buy the 6 days 7,000 years ago. So.
Right. And then how did that progress from the time you're 6 or 7? Did you keep having these experiences? Did Melchizedek keep coming to you?
He's come twice after that. When I was an adult, but the experiences in different aspects of light beings kept up through the teenage years, and I had this strong urge to sort of learn more, and I went to the library and looked for books, you know, and a lot of the visions and the dreams I had was confirmed once I started reading Edgar Cayce, because he would go into certain aspects of Earth thousands of years ago, which was identical to my dreams. So I thought this must have happened, you know.
So it was a validation of.
It was a validation of probably incarnations in previous times. Yeah.
And so, how did that propel you? How did that, you know, move your life? And so you're studying and you're having more experiences. So why don't you talk a little about that?
It made me more conscious of my spirituality, to get it validated. And eventually it became so overwhelming that it was hard to do anything physical. And then I came across this book by Norman Paulson, which and he described exactly the same things that I had experienced, which had experienced to him in his life. And I decided I need to see this man. I need to meet this man. And
you were born in Norway.
I was born in Norway, and I worked many years on cruise ships all over the world, so I actually found his book in Hawaii.
I see.
And that's where I read it. And I read it through the night, from like 9 in the evening to 6 in the morning, and then went back to work again. I wasn't tired at all. It was like really amazing. And I met him, and I eventually decided to move to his group of people, which is just about in California here. Yeah.
Yeah, about an hour outside of where we are, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
And you're still there.
I'm still there. Yeah.
Right.
So
why don't you talk about, what his vision was and how he set these things up, and you have health food stores and trying to change the paradigm that way, and also writing the book, and just how everything came about for you.
yeah, what we do up there in Sunburst is more to live close to the land in a householder community. Be connected to the earth, be connected to creation, and sort of teach other people the art of Kriya Yoga, which is our main teachings. And Kriya Yoga was brought to this country by Paramahansa Yogananda in the early 1920s, and it's a scientific and methodical way of meditation that will, if you do it steady and diligently, it will actually lead you to enlightenment. And I was taught that technique by Norman Paulson, and he was again a student of Paramahansa Yogananda. He spent 4 years in the ashram with Yogananda about 60 years ago. And the word Kriya Yoga, Kriya is the Sanskrit word for action, and Yoga is union. So it's actually union with God through action. So that's what we try to express to the world.
Yeah, and you have this beautiful, 100-acre, 200-acre place in.
It's a big place. Most of it is still wildlife. We only use a small part of it, and most of it's going to be wildlife. And it's like a wildlife. It's a sanctuary both for people and for animals.
Right. Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
Yeah.
And it's lovely up there.
So we're building a temple now, and we have a big lodge. We have accommodations, guest accommodations.
So people can come and participate, and you do workshops up there?
We do workshops. We do Kriya Yoga retreats 3 times a year, and people from all over the world actually come to these.
And it's a Sunburst community. It's in Lompoc, right? If people want to Google it or something.
Yeah, it's the zip code is Lompoc, yeah. So, but it's kind of out it's a ranch out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And so when did you decide that you wanted to share this information, that you wanted to put it on paper, that you wanted people to have it?
The book I wrote has been emerging over a long time. And then about 2 years ago, I decided to put it into words. So once that decision was made, it was about 9 months for me to...
A birth.
Yeah. It's
A
a
human
birth.
birth.
Yeah. I was pregnant with the book for
Right.
about 9 months.
Right.
Yeah. And the people who read the book said that a lot of the things that they don't understand about spirituality and metaphysical aspects of life suddenly became very clear to them while reading the book. And that was my intention, to sort of simplify it. And English is my second language, so I'm not in possession of all these fancy words either. So it's a simple way to learn about the experiences that I've had, and try to demystify the whole spirituality as a normal thing that you don't have to be afraid of. You don't have to fear anything. So.
It's not outside the range of human experience that one person every century or two could have.
No, it's everybody, and that's what Jesus said. These things and even greater things can you do. Not sometimes in the future, but you have the ability to do that. And I believe Jesus came here to fully show people their true potential, as he had it. And but he also came in the dark ages of, if we go into the yugas, the Kali Yuga, and a lot of people were not ready for his message. So, but eventually, once we're all on the ascending part of this yuga now, into the Dwapara Yuga, so eventually we will get more and more enlightened as we go along into the future.
So why don't you take people through the book and, help them understand and help them experience their own divinity and their own infinite quality?
Yeah, there's 3 sections of the book. The first section is who are we and who is God. And in order to understand who we are and who God is, we need to know our relationship with God and where we fit into this creation. And it also talks about reincarnation, about heaven and hell. It talks about cause and effect and karma and different layers of spiritual worlds. And the second part is where did we come from, which takes you through the whole creation. And then I present a new thesis, because the 2 established theses of where we came from is either the religious one, the creationism, where everything was created a few thousand years ago, and then you have Darwinism, where we all involved, and I present the third one, which is in the middle, that we are evolving all the time, but sometimes angels or higher being come in and they actually interfere to speed up the evolution. And the third part of the book is more the hands-on. This is what you need to do to evolve. It starts with the easy, change your diet, exercise, see who you associate with, and then it goes into the meditation technique. And then the last chapter, I have tried to explain some of the experiences that I have had in deep meditation. When you raise your conscious level up to the chakras, you try to dethrone your ego, you get the dark night of the soul that the prophets are talking about, and you eventually get to the point where you get either Christ consciousness or cosmic consciousness. And in this time and age, you can't really stay in that level of consciousness. You're lucky if you get like a small glimpse of it, so that you can see where we're headed into the future.
Wow. And are you sensing that, that we've talked a lot about the show, that, kind of where we're going up through the 100 monkeys, reaching points where, we're having quantum shifts and non-linear, explosions, something happens, so that in a way we are moving faster into this cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness?
We are moving faster as we go along now, and more people. I believe that where you end up after your life here on Earth is ended is based on the vibration that you carry with you, and also when you go into this world, the vibration that you're at would go into this Earth. So if the Earth rises its vibration, then you need a higher vibration to get incarnated into this Earth. And a lot of the children born into this Earth nowadays or even last 10 years, are very, enlightened people compared to what I was used to when I was a kid, and I believe that as we go along, the 100 monkey, I think there is like a 3 to 3.5% that needs to be conscious about this to shift. And that's pretty much what everything is in life. Once you get those 3% on the right side, the rest will follow. Even in the Revolutionary War here in this country, only 3% of the adult males fought the war. 97 couldn't care less. So once you get 3% to go, and then those are the innovators, that you need to. And I believe, people watching this show are probably among the 5 to 3% of that population today. So. And one enlightened person would do very good for all the other unenlightened. I mean, Jesus was there for 3 years, and he has had more influence than most of the monks and nuns in the monasteries, just for being here 3 years and doing what he did. So
there's a lot of opportunity now.
There's a lot of opportunity, but you have to be selective,
Right.
about spirituality.
Discerning.
Yeah, you have to be very selective on what you choose.
Actually, why don't you talk a little about that, then we'll go through the book a little more closely for the second half. But talk a little bit about discernment and how you develop a discernment about what's right for you, what's not right, who's right, which people, which energies that you'd want to,
What I tried to install in my book, what I wrote in my book is my truth, but it doesn't have to be anybody else's truth. So what I want to present in the book is for the reader to actually, through introspective meditation, develop the ability to listen to your heart, listen to your intuition and your gut feeling, because that is always the right feeling for you. And the word gut in German is God, so it's actually your God feeling that you're listening to. And when you do that, because God has installed a part of itself in you, and that's the part you're listening to. So when you do that, you align your will with the will of God. And when you do that, you raise your consciousness to the level of God. And that's why Jesus could say, I and the Father are one. Yeah, not Jesus the person, but Jesus the consciousness. Was one with the Father. So that's the main message. Trust your intuition and act on it.
Okay, maybe what we'll do is see the second video, this beautiful video, and then we'll come back and, how to get to that place where the intuition is clear, where it's not as blocked by ideas and concepts and rights and wrongs. So we'll do that next. Okay, so the second video is this beautiful video I announced at the beginning. Yuval Ron is going to be a guest later on in the bridging season. He's this incredible musician, a peace activist, being of love, being of light. He has this ensemble, and what we're seeing is the first section of the World Festival of Sacred Music, and the video of this was directed by Misha Hedges, and it's Yuval Ron Ensemble. Enjoy.
Good evening. Tonight's concert is dedicated to the spirit of the Sufi path, the seeker of truth.
Aman 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 ya
إليك مرتبى الله أكبر أحمدني دكتور
Have to scream for peace. Sometimes God don't listen us.
Hi everybody, welcome back. So that's a beautiful video, and we'll see a lot more of his music as we go, because we have a bunch of it, and he's going to be a guest personally later on the season. So watch for it. Yuval Ron, beautiful ensemble, and they play all over the world, bringing that peace energy, and they have people in the ensemble from all different countries, all different warring countries or countries that are in conflict, and he brings them together with this incredible music. And so the piece of art, this incredible art manifestation that you see in between Helge and I, was by Kat Kyriakou from Cyprus, Mediterranean Cyprus. It's an acrylic on canvas, and it's called Bridging Heaven and Earth. And it's one of the literally 250 to 300 pieces that are coming from all the world. So different, so powerful, so much love. Just really an opportunity for us to be part of a grand healing. So if anybody wants to call us, email us, and we can figure out a way to do it and have it on the Bridging Show. So yeah, we were talking at the end of the last segment, Helge, about the gut and God and intuition. Mm-hmm. And probably everybody watching would say, that is a good idea. I know my thoughts make me crazy. I know they go up and down. And I would like to get to that knowing place, that gut, that God place. And how would you recommend they do that?
I would recommend to, and that's the problem, you have all these thoughts in your head, or the mind chatter, and try to get rid of that. So I would find a silent place, either in your home or outside your home. Sit with a straight spine or sit upright. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. And if you can try to actually look at your breath from outside, like you're outside looking at yourself breathing, then you sort of detach yourself a little from yourself. And when you control your breath, you focus on that, then some of the mind chatter will disappear because you're focusing on the breath. And that's a technique that some of the ancients used to do in the old days. And focus on your heart after that. Your gut feeling sits in your heart region. Your intellectual aspect of you is in the brain, but your heart is the emotional gut feeling. And when you listen to that, normally the first thought that comes to mind is your gut feeling. When you, from a peaceful, tranquil place with not too much mind chatter, the first thought that comes to mind is your gut feeling. And to trust that, and that's the big part, to trust it, because it may not be rational to your mind, even though it comes from your heart. So that's
it might not be reasonable. It might not make sense. It might be out of context. It might be non-linear. But you're saying that is the true information being given you.
Yes, and great things can happen from that, and a lot of great things have happened, and they just do it. They don't ask questions, why should you do it, and there will always be the critical part of your mind would go, you can't do that, that's absurd, it doesn't make sense,
So you're saying to begin to trust that, to begin to lean on it, and then you see that is a better thing to lean on than all the mind chatter in your head, so you start to trust that more.
Yeah, most of the mind chatter is not your own. It comes from all the impulses that you get from other people, from TV, from the society, teachers, parents, and it's sort of a soup of all the things that you get into your brain externally from all these sources. And it's not your true self. Because in the society, we all play roles. You have a role as a father, a friend, colleague, student, and when you get into that peaceful part of yourself, you become yourself. You don't play all these roles. It's just you and God, and you become yourself the way you truly and safely are within yourself, and that's when your feeling comes out from the heart, and that's what we need to trust more.
So, I mean, it's like when we talk a lot about in the show, you almost become like love in motion.
Yes.
Because you're coming from that internal knowing, that internal guidance, that gut, God.
Yeah. And part of meditation is to raise your vibration from the lower chakras up to the higher chakras. The general populace on the earth today, their awareness is at the lumbar chakra, which is just below the heart, and then several people that are into spirituality and start questioning their reality have most likely moved up to the heart chakra. So the consciousness is there, and then when you raise it up to the higher chakras, then you raise your whole vibration, and you become more in line with God. And that's the whole thing, to align your will with the will of God.
So, what you're saying is in your experience, the best way to help line that up, to come to that quiet place, is meditation?
It's true meditation.
True meditation.
It doesn't mean that my meditation technique is good as the best for you. You have to find your own meditation technique, whatever works for you, and just be still and listen. And like Jesus said, sometimes you need to go in your closet and just be still and listen to.
And how do you feel about like going in nature and the ocean and places that are more separate from our common busyness and all that?
Einstein said, "I'm more spiritual in nature than anywhere else," and I can second that. Once you're in nature, especially when you're out alone, and you sit and you can connect with the trees, the flowers, the animals, the rocks, and there is no external noise, maybe some insects, but that's when you're truly spiritual too. I find it easier to meditate and easier to be calm in nature than in a big city.
And that's one of the things that at the Sunburst community, you arrange situations where people can be doing that more and more, right? I mean,
a lot of the stuff we do is in nature, yeah. So, and when you live in the way society has become, we have become detached from the nature. We have people in the city, they don't know what an apple tree looks like. They don't know where the carrots are coming from.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. We thought that all those stuff grew on the Safeway counter.
Oh, yeah.
Till I went off to summer camp. It's like, oh my God, they actually grow tomatoes on a vine.
Yeah. And we also have an organic farm, which we bring school children, kindergarten children out there to have farm tours. And when they see actually how the fruit and the vegetables are produced, and how they grow, I mean, they get more respect.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I mean, the look in their eyes, they get more respect for the food they eat, and they know it doesn't come from the counter, so yeah.
Right.
There's more to it. Yeah.
And so in people's responding to your book, what do you find is that the part of the book that really seems to, at this particular time in history, trigger people?
The first part, everybody loves the first part, because it goes into the fact that we are more than our physical body. We have an astral body surrounding us, and we also have the causal body, which is in our heart, and that seems to go well with a lot of people. Once the second part, which takes us through the history, it's going to conflict with everybody else's view on history, because everybody has an established view on what that is, so that doesn't go that well. I don't say my view on history is right. I just try to challenge the established view on history, which I don't think is right at all. So. And the third part is more hands-on how to live your life, and that's people read through it and then they take their version of it and try to implement what they feel is right. Because a lot of the things you can't do everything I say in the book. It's you take a few pieces that suits you and then move on from there. So, but the first part, a lot of people have said you should just have elaborated on the first part and make a book out of that. So that goes very well.
Okay, so why don't the parts that people thought that they would like you to elaborate on, why don't you do that now so they can...
It's mainly the understanding God and understanding our place in the universe. And I believe God was this tranquil, silent being before creation, androgynous, that had to think this whole creation to be, because everything is projected with thought forms. So when that thought form of this whole creation was established, then God extended itself into creation. And since this is a dual creation, good, evil, hot, cold, God had to extend itself in a dual manner, which it did with a dual vortexes, one feminine, one masculine. And these vortexes goes through the whole creation and it sustains everything in it. It's what it's called prana in India or chi in China. It's the life force that sustains us. And then God created this universe based on playfulness, curiosity, and he wanted to experience it. So he installed our causal body, which is a true reflection of God inside us, so that God could experience life through us and through the animals and through the plants. So what we do with our hands is actually God doing through us. And when God created us, he created us without limitations. So the limitations we feel we have is pretty much put upon ourselves by ourselves. And that explains the Trinity of God that the prophets talked about. God the Father being God that extended itself into creation, and God the Son being the pure reflection of God inside ourselves, and God the Holy Spirit, which is the life force that sustains the universe. And another analogy for that is when you're asleep, you're one person, but when you start dreaming, you're actually three. You are the dreamer, and you become the dream, and you become the object of your dream. So this creation, in a way, is God's dream. It's real. It's all, it's all vibration. It's all friction. It's all light, frozen into solid mass, and that was the intention of the creation, to have it like that.
And so when did it go from being like playful and joyful, and when did fear seem to rise its head? How did that work?
In my opinion, there was certain angels that decided to create outside of the rules that were established by God. It's talked a lot about in the book of Enoch, about the fallen angels, and that's why it was taken out of the Bible, because they didn't want to deal with that. And that created negativity and evil. But as this is a dual universe, you actually have to have evil in order to experience good. And if everything is good, you really don't see it as good. It's only good when you compare it to evil. So it's you have to have a dual aspects of both evil and good, as well as
and that would go through both the Kali Yugas and the Sat Yugas, the Golden Age and the...
to some degree. What the goal is through meditation is to raise your consciousness to the point where you are not subject to the yugas. You can actually stay enlightened the whole time, despite the cycle of consciousness that...
Well, can the whole species achieve that?
Eventually they can, yeah. Eventually they probably will.
And that would probably be a golden age.
That's the golden age. Yeah, that's
That would probably be pretty good all in all.
that's what we call the Satya Yoga,
Satya
which is really long. You know, the Kali Yuga at the bottom is really a short time. It's only 2,400 years, where it's the Satya Yuga is 4 times longer. So.
And let me ask you this. I mean, we've had other people who talked a lot about, the cycles and the yugas and all that. Is there a possibility that the rules could change and that the cycles could either be sped up or slowed down or blah, 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 blah?
It is actually sped up and slowed down. I had, one of my experiences, I had a short period of what's called cosmic consciousness. It's not Christ consciousness, it's cosmic consciousness, where your consciousness is aligned with the universe, and everything you ask for is actually answered before you even ask for it. And one of the things that I asked for, I was conscious enough to ask about the yugas and the cycle of consciousness, and it came to me in a very clear manner. And if you see, because everything in the small universe is the same as in the big universe. So the cycle of consciousness is this solar system sort of going to and from the center of the universe. It's kind of hard to explain, but as it goes closer, it speeds up, just like an electron when it gets close. Sorry, an atom when it goes close. An electron goes close to the atom, it speeds up, and then it gets slow.
Oh, well, we're coming near the end of the show, and
Yeah,
it really
okay,
does go
yeah.
fast. So, in 30 seconds, what do you want everybody to know about, the gift that you've had from your experience?
Again, trust your intuition. Start, eat healthy food, make your vessel more ready, do your cleansing, exercise, don't worry too much, get your stress level down. Try to minimize the EMF exposure, electromagnetic field from your cell phone, and start to meditate. Find your way of meditation, find your inner calm, and once you're at the center of your own being, then you're more steady and more prepared to meet the world.
Oh, beautiful. There's a nice little list. So, okay, so again, anybody wants any information about Helge, the art project, the music, the videos, bridging, call us. We love it. We love all your comments. We love all your inspiration. It's Alan, 805-687-2053, 805-687-2053. The art project is Heaven to Earth Art. It's beautiful. Go see it. We love you. Good night. God bless you. Thank you. Good night.